This is a lecture hall, circa 1980. This is a modern lecture hall. Notice the difference? Giant sea of laptops stretching before you. Laptops are a new common fixture in the lecture hall. However, despite how beneficial they are overall academic hindrance to you. As a result, I would say that you should not use laptops in the lecture hall because they reduce your academic performance. First, let's talk about why laptops are beneficial. For one, laptops are useful for in-class activities. A good example of this was Barbara Weaver's article, Laptops in the Humanities in 2005, in which her public speaking students were critiquing her speech that was poorly done on purpose. And then those critiques were put up onto a class bulletin and then projected onto the screen so that they could communicate about what went wrong with the speech so that the students could learn from it. Another example of why laptops are useful in the lecture hall is for the ability to find supplementary material. In this case, Kristen Murray's article, Let Them Use Laptops, in 2011, illustrated this with law students, in which, while the lecture was going on, when the law students wanted to find like an extra case or a statute that was related to the material, they were able to do so and supplement their material that way. Third is writing speed. This chart here is from Pam Mueller's The Pen is Mightier Than the Keyboard in 2014, in which it shows that in each of the studies that they did, the laptop users were about 100 words more than the longhand, like handwriting users. In this case, the laptop users were able to have more content on their notes and therefore have more information to review in the later times. Here's the issue, though. There are three major issues with laptops. One, they tend to be a distraction for students. Two, is that longhand notes are more effective. And three, they lower your grade performance overall. So, as distractions, even if you think that you're going to be really focused on your laptop and actually use the notes how you're supposed to, studies show that you won't. First, Student Revisa's article, Logged In and Zoned Out, 2017, studied laptop users in a large lecture hall of about a 2-hour lecture in which the laptops were hooked up to proxy servers so that their internet usage was tracked, anonymously, of course, in which students had an average of 37 minutes of the 2-hour lecture, so over a third once you account for the time and break and whatnot that they spent on non-academic activities. For example, shopping, Facebook, email, what have you. If you took that as a Cal Poly student and did that consistently, you'd waste over $12,000 of your tuition money, according to the Cal Poly 2017 to 2018 tuition and mandatory fees. This is another graphic that shows the breakdown of laptop usage in Eric Ragan's article, Unregulated Use of Laptops Over Time in a Large Lecture. That was in 2014. As you can see, note-taking was the primary item that was done. However, it only accounts for about 30% of laptop usage, which means that the rest of it adds up to 2/3 of the time, which is the overwhelming majority of time was spent on non-note-taking activities, which arguably 90% or more of your lecture should be note-taking. Another item from his article is this. What this shows is they observed the different people. This was a 3-hour lecture. And every 3 minutes they did an observation, saw how many people were off task. This is the number of people that were off task at each point. As you can see, until the last 10 minutes of lecture, more than half the class was off task, as in that red line is the 50% mark. And then finally, with Robin Kay's article, Unstructured versus Structured Use of Laptops in Higher Education, in 2011, they showed that when students did not have a structured activity, as in the professor did not have an activity that specifically involved laptops, students tended to stay off task. Though there is a silver lining with that in that when students have a specific task, there is a good use for a laptop, but otherwise I would say that you should not use them for that reason. Moving on, why longhand notes are better than laptop notes. This is from Pam Mueller's article, The Pen is Mightier Than the Keyboard, I mentioned earlier, in which longhand users perform better than laptop users. Why, you might ask? It's because laptop users tend to take transcript-style notes. and that everything the professor says is put down in a mindless drone fashion so that every bit of information is absorbed in the computer. The issue is not getting absorbed up here. When you're writing down notes, you have to actively filter out what you include and what you don't include. As a result, you learn more by taking hand notes than you would by laptop notes. Interesting side note is that the third bar is the laptop in which the study participants were told not to take transcript style notes. They still did not do as well as the longhand users. Let's talk about grade repercussions. Susan Revisa's 2014 article, Non-Academic Internet Use in the Classroom, establishes that the distractions from laptops do lead to higher exam scores. And that correlation in that the more non-academic use the student did, the worse their exam scores ended up. This is from Nancy Aguilar-Roca's article, The Impact of Laptop-Free Zones on Student Performance. It was a 2012 article in which they compared laptop users to non-laptop users. And the percentage of laptop users were higher in the D category and the F category than paper users. And the opposite was true for A's, as in more longhand users ended up with A's percentage-wise than laptop users. And then finally, lowered exam performance and overall academic performance was further shown by Richard Patterson's article, Computers and Productivity in 2017. They took a look at laptop required classes and the effect they had on laptop optional classes. In classes earlier in the day, you had to bring a laptop, and then later you had the choice of using a laptop. In that case, you saw a grade point drop between 0.14 and 0.25 on the grade scale. As in, take your current GPA and knock it by as much as a quarter, assuming that you have laptop optionals. Overall, laptops are a useful technology. They have a lot of great benefits. For example, this presentation is being powered by one. But in terms of the lecture hall without a structured activity, they're simply not as effective as handwritten notes. As a result, I would say that you should not use laptops without a structured activity.